get straight to the point, if you want to become a better artist, you kind of have to suspend the idea that art is this purely emotion and inspiration-driven experience. A lot of people might disagree with me on this, and it's kind of a paradoxical statement in itself. It's just the easiest way that I found to put this into words. And basically you can look at an artist as a machine. We take on inspiration and we put out a product, our interpretation, whether that's a painting or a drawing, whether it's for sale or just for fun. We've made a thing, and what goes on in between, in the mechanism of the art machine, is a combination of elements and components all working together in a balance for productivity and improvement and development. So basically we need to reframe our point of view on things a little bit, because maybe you're watching this video because what you've been doing to improve so far hasn't been working. So we need to take more of a clinical look at something that's usually seen as quite visceral and quite spiritual. The same way that a ballet dancer performs the art of movement, and it's fluid and it's organic, but behind the scenes it's all repetition and pain and practice, and maybe a little bit of twirling around in their room for fun sometimes when no one's watching. Right, so before I ramble on anymore, here's the formula, these are the steps, this is the work that you've got to put in to get your art factory's production quality through the roof. Right, so the first step is to dedicate some time every day to creating art. You've heard it before, I know, but if you're still not doing it and you're still not seeing improvement that you'd like to see, then maybe it's time to start taking it a little bit more seriously. Commitment to this is key, so it should be as inevitable as the half hour that you spend messing about on your phone before you go to bed. Make it part of your routine. So for me, it's one of the first things that I do in the morning after I've got dressed. For you, your trigger could be when you finish your dinner, it could be when you finish your homework. Just find something that you do every day and slip that art practice in either before or after it. That's just the easiest way to anchor a habit. Okay, but draw what, right? The major key here is balance. So we learn through doing and we learn through studying. So you can draw and draw and draw, but if you're not studying your subject matter, you're always going to be limited to the things that you think you know. And you can read all the books in the world, but if you're not applying that and implementing it onto paper, it just doesn't mean anything. It's not going to stick. Now, a lot of the time when we sit down so purposefully, so intentionally and forcefully to draw, you know, it's 5 o'clock, time to draw something, it doesn't work like that. We're just not inspired. And the art machine runs on the fuel of inspiration, right? But you have to extract that fuel in order to use it. So if you find yourself staring at a blank bit of paper, your inspiration fuel tanks are empty, it's time to replenish them. It's time to study. So that could entail watching YouTube tutorials, going to life drawing classes. They have YouTube life drawing as well. You can enroll in an online class. If you're interested in Skillshare, I do still have a 99-cent coupon for that. I will leave a link to the video where I talk about that in the description. Books, I'd really recommend. I know for me it really helps to have something more tangible, something I can touch. It just makes more sense of things. Study the masters, I talked about that quite recently as well. Another key part of studying art is to draw from life. That's a really essential skill to have, to be able to translate what's 3D in front of you into a 2D image. I've actually written a blog post to accompany this video. I'll leave a link below, but basically it breaks down all of those steps just in case I went a bit too quickly. I've got some really useful links in there as well to good YouTube channels that you can use to learn, some book recommendations as well, just all that good stuff. So don't forget to check that out. Right, so that's the work side of things. Now, if you happen to sit down at your allotted art time and you find yourself more inclined to play, your inspiration well is full and you've got a ton of ideas, or you just want to doodle, do that. If you go to your sketchbook and you have this amazing idea for a drawing, do it. If you want to experiment with a new medium, or just make a mess and have fun, go for it. You have to take those moments of pure inspiration and run with them. And make mistakes. Don't ever let the fear of not being able to translate your ideas onto paper stop you from trying. In fact, it's almost better to make mistakes. It's better to get it wrong, because then you have something to work on next time. That's the direction to take your next study session in. Create, 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 then analyze and improve. That's the cycle that's going to get you moving forward. So those are the two main components that go into strengthening the machine of good art production. Again, the one thing that I need you to take away from this is that you must create art as often as possible, if not every day. If you want to have fun and experiment and get ideas onto paper, go ahead. If you don't have any ideas or you're lacking inspiration, get on with some studying and practice. That's the skeleton of the structure. Then there are always those extra bits you can throw in. One of them is life experience. I'm not going to talk about that a lot because, you know, I don't like to leave the house that often. But yeah, things like travel, culture, life, memories, it all goes into creating a more well-rounded outlook, a diversity of ideas. So go out or stay in, watch a good film, listen to good music, go to a gallery, or take up a hobby like photography or pottery. Next is engagement or community. You've got to share, you've got to get feedback, give feedback, talk, discuss. You can't exist in a bubble because that will stunt your growth enormously. If you don't have friends or a close circle that are creative or could offer you constructive feedback, then there are tons of ways that you can find that online. You can set up an Instagram account or YouTube account, show your art anonymously. Again, Skillshare, they didn't sponsor this video, but there's a great community there of like-minded people, all trying to better themselves, all submitting their work for a review. And then the last thing that I would suggest would be a project or a challenge. So for example, if you're not good at drawing feet, you could set yourself the challenge to draw a foot every day for 30 days. You can also do something, if you really want to push yourself, something that's going to take a lot of skills and exploration of things that you wouldn't often explore. So for example, you could write and illustrate a short story. You could follow along with my 30 ways to fill a sketchbook that would have you possibly trying different materials and different styles. If there's anything for you to take away from this video, it's that the difference between you and the artists you admire is not some genetic superiority, it's not something they were born with, it's not chance, it's a formula and it's very much attainable. Like them, you have all the parts to the great art machine. You just have to put in the work to put those parts together.